Greetings Internet, Didier here, and welcome to another Star Wars Unlimited match that RNG is bringing you from Portal Comics and Gaming. Again, at our weekly play, we have another example of Mace Windu. Hey, I've been playing a lot of Mace Windu against my friend and teammate Anthony, who is playing his Dedra Colossus build. Now, this Dedra build is very strong and showing the lines between kind of an aggressive mid-range style deck and a control deck. Because, of course, Dedra comes out on 4, so she kind of has Kira vibes, but we'll have to see the differences between Kira and this deck in this match. So now Mace Windu, traditionally very good against control. I actually had a 100%, oh, and there's the thumbs up. We actually had a kid in the store who was learning how to play Pokemon. Really wanted to be on the YouTube video, so told him he could give a thumbs up on the video, so. But going to start out with Dedra Power here and just letting the draw happen and getting the Daring Raid pretty much net zero there. Drawing, then Daring Raid, pretty good for Anthony, I would say, since he net zeroed on cards, but removed my unit. You know, after opening up with the Chopper there, that is the one problem with Chopper. Chopper, really good against the control decks, but the control decks that run Daring Raid, Knowledge, and Defense can easily answer Chopper. Gonna drop down the red 5 here on my side. Now, and then be met by the Merciless. Now, this brings up, so this is like classic control play here. Just play unit, remove, play unit, remove. This is, I tell people about when you play control decks, the game really doesn't begin until you start double playing units. And that's how you got to think. Different decks can double play units at different stages of the game, depending on if you play one cost units or not, or if you play some kind of combos or token generation or things like that. It really depends. The Mace Windu deck doesn't play 1-drops, which I sometimes am sad about. But so this 4 resource turn would be the first opportunity I could double play, but instead of a double play, we're actually seeing a naked Fleet Lieutenant here with no effect. Not looking great on the Mace Windu side. Playing that Fleet Lieutenant for no effect. Just trying to stick a unit and push in damage. Now at this point, I didn't want to give him a card. I knew the Chopper was worth trying to stick the Chopper, and I felt like it was a desperation move for him to Dedra Power turn 1 on the Chopper. Hoping I could stick the Chopper, but nope. We're going to be met with a Knowledge and Defense, showing how the stacking effects of Dedra are just very strong. Getting that extra damage with all the draw that he's been doing with the double power and the Knowledge and Defense. So, but this is where the Mace Windu deck lives, right? Like the reason that the Mace Windu deck is strong against control decks, seeing the aggression here to draw a card and do 4 damage. A clean answer to Dedra there with the 6 damage coming from Mace Windu. Getting that draw, I think he still does have more cards. Yes, he still does have more cards than me, so he's going to get a clean 8 damage with his leader before I take him out with Mace Windu, and he has all his resources left to develop the board. And now we're seeing here how this could be aggressive here, but he's actually going to pillage. So this is an interesting choice here by Anthony, choosing to pillage here. It's probably a testament to the way his deck is built. But having already pushed that 8 damage and having all resources up, it might have been better for him to develop the board there to push more damage. Because he was at a heavy life total advantage there, but choosing to pillage instead. My side, dropping down the Luthen's Hullcraft. One of the things that is amazing about Luthen's Hullcraft in this matchup, in comparison to like a K2SO or the old Senatorial Corvette that we used to play, is that the Disclose makes it so it's difficult for these control decks to actually activate that. Difficult, nigh impossible, like close to impossible. Because you would need to disclose red hero, which he certainly has red, maybe, but definitely does not have heroism. So giving him the 2 damage there and then baiting the no glory, him burning a no glory there is very significant because no glory is one of those cards. It's, the villain vanquish. It's the vanquish that has more use than just being vanquish. So getting him to burn that card there, now that we're going into the late game, is very significant because he's going to have one less answer to all my late game units that are about to come out. So dropping down another Luthen's Hullcraft here. A lucky draw, what can I say? But the 3 HP of Luthen's Hullcraft is going to be a detriment here. Anthony just kind of hoping that I don't have enough to disclose since I only have 2 cards in my hand, but I do have that double red. So we're going to be able to get, this is a mono red deck, so we are going to get the double discard there. Anthony did go for the 6 mil, thinking this game is going to last long. And me dropping down my Green Squadron A-Wing. Well, he didn't even have another mode he could have used there. Yeah, limiting his cards because I know that I've been discarding. Like, he used the Pillage, I got the double discard. I'm trying to limit his cards here. And get him to use his cards on removing, finishing off my units. The flip here with Mace Windu for no effect is fine. I'm just trying to push damage. And this is a very difficult resource here. You can see my hand resourcing that Rancor in order to double play this turn. Very aggressive resource there. I think a lot of new players that I see, they go too high in resources in the late game. Like when they're facing these control decks, they'll get to like 10 or 11 resources, and they just don't need to have that many resources. And you always have to ask yourself, am I spending all my resources every turn? And if I'm not spending all my resources every turn, could those cards in my hand have been a better advantage in this game? So I remember thinking about that resource for a while because losing a Rancor to double play this turn is a very aggressive choice, I would say. Gonna get that 3 damage in with the A-Wing before the Merciless Contest takes him out. And then, of course, yeah, so this is something of note here. So him doing the Merciless, like, he knew that he was only going to get the A-Wing with the Merciless, who had already attacked. So I thought he was setting up the Power of the Dark Side on my leader. So instead of swinging with Mace Windu, I actually played the Chopper to protect Mace Windu from the Power of the Dark Side first, which is very significant. Like, knowing the control play lines, knowing what plays they're setting up, very significant there to play around that to save my leader. Because, and the reason I knew that is there was really no reason for him to Merciless there. I had already did the damage with the A-Wing. There were tons and tons of options he could have done. I don't know if he actually has the Power of the Dark Side in his hand. It doesn't look like he does. But that was what made logical sense to me with his play. So now's the point. You could see I actually held that Rancor. So I was... And here we had the Super Laser Blast, right? I held the Rancor from last turn, showing some restraint here. I could have played that Rancor, but I knew the Super Laser was coming, and this is the significant part against control decks that you have to think about. This is a card-for-card game. You're playing a game of card advantage against control in the late game, and me playing the Mace Windu deck, I know that we're going to get to the late game. Unless he draws very poorly. But this is the part that you want to be at with control decks. You want to be at this 2-unit level. Because it's hard for decks to answer 2 units, especially 2 units that are in different arenas. But this is where you want to be with control. Because like as we're seeing here, he drops down the Avenger, gets 1 unit, and now I get to push damage. And that's where you want to be. Now, you don't want to be the point where you're staring down an Avenger attack and may lose the game. That's not where you want to be, but this is a tough choice. I feel like the Cassian has like some inevitability to him. He has the top target on him, so I know that Anthony is going to get that, like claim that bounty, like overextend himself to claim the bounty. So I almost thought maybe I sack the Cassian here and then just send the A-Wing into the Avenger, because I have Charge with Treason in my hand. So the A-Wing Charge with Treason answers the Avenger, but then I lose my unit. I don't do damage to the base. So I was really thinking about it, but I actually choose to go with the A-Wing, to get rid of the A-Wing and then push with the Cassian. The Cassian does have more HP than the A-Wing, so tanking this 2 damage with Dedra Ping here is not that bad. But we are going to see the Charge with Treason with a single double red card in hand, showing the power of playing double red with Charge with Treason. Now again, going aggressive here. Where I want to be is to have 2 units on the board, and now I know if he swings with Avenger first, I get 6 damage. Like he gets 8, but I get 6, and I'm ahead right now. So he does have that top target though. We're in a pretty tough spot here. This is pretty even, I would say. We're at the point that both these decks want to be as they are built. I saw at one point Anthony actually had another Avenger in his hand. He must have gotten rid of it for some reason. But we are going to see the No Glory here on the Rancor to prevent the 6 damage, but then we do get the Avenger with the open fire. Yeah, completely cleared the board here, getting the 5 or 6 heal rather from the unique unit with that top target. And again, we have a clear board, but lucky for me, I play plenty of Cassian Smuggles to help me ready my units and push some damage. And we have a lot of local players who, and I'm no better. We have a lot of people locally who get frustrated playing against control decks, and I am definitely no better. I get frustrated sometimes, but I've grown a resilience to it because I've become accustomed to the game that you're playing against a control deck. That's the thing. You're playing a different game. And that game is a game of card advantage, like I mentioned earlier. Yeah, it's a different world that we're in right now, and this control world. Really, it's Anthony's world, and I'm just living in it. As we see the Vigilance come down for another 5 heal. This is a risky play here, actually. The Crate Dragon, very risky play here. We have not seen a Power of the Dark Side yet. I knew it was a risky play, but I figured, I was getting to... I know I have enough experience against these control decks to know when I'm starting to lose my momentum. And when you start to lose momentum, that's when you have to start making risky plays, right? To try to reestablish yourself or gain a stronghold on the game. That pillage there that Anthony did was probably not a great play. Knowing that this crate is going to do 10 to base here with a Fleet Lieutenant, protection from Power of the Dark Side, excellent play. simultaneously attacking with the Crate Dragon and protecting from Power of the Dark Side. Really, really strong there. Getting the Super Laser, taking the 8 to base, getting him up to really, really high. He only has 2 HP left with the Daring Raid to base. Okay. Yeah, so, you could see the different game. I made a risky play there by slamming that crate if he had the power. And he was mentioning to me that he had not seen powers that game. I think he runs his deck at around 60, he was saying. So the inconsistency in draws there is where that comes from. Of course, Dedra is drawing you cards, and he does play the Death Marks as well. But either way, you're still having general inconsistency and higher variance when you have a higher number of cards. So yeah, it probably was better for him to claim there, because not probably, it definitely was better for him to claim there. I don't think he had the Super Laser in his hand when he pillaged, so it wasn't like he was choosing Super Laser or pillage. I think in his mind, he just wanted to gain the advantage that he could in that turn. It wasn't bad, but it did end up costing him the game, because he did draw the answer to the crate that he needed. Kind of like in the previous match video that we released, where Dave snap claimed and didn't deploy his leader because he knew he couldn't take the 6 from the Rancor. In a similar fashion, Anthony kind of should have known that if he took the 10 from the crate, he was probably dead. So I don't think he expected the fleet to protect from Power of the Dark Side. So maybe he was hoping, I haven't seen a single power yet. I'll draw Power of the Dark Side. He'll hit me for 10, but I'll power and only take 3 and not 8, and be at 28 instead of 33. And then he could recover from there. Possibly what he was thinking. But very risky plays on both sides of the fence there. Me dropping down that crate to a naked board against a control deck, and Anthony pillaging a double red deck when crate's on the field. But Anthony has already talked to me. We actually recorded this match about a week ago now. Anthony has already talked to me about how he's heavily modified his Dedra list already. I've also heavily modified my Mace Windu deck as well. So these lists are dynamic. We're always updating them, and yeah. So I hope you enjoy these match videos and getting a taste of how we work on decks, how we develop our decks, and this is what we do. We just kind of run our decks into each other and see where we land. But you can see why the Mace Windu deck succeeds against control decks, because it has a lot of tools against control. It has the big units. It can play in the end game. It has the answers to the end game units, especially now with that Charge with Treason card. Gives another card that can answer a big unit, especially a 7 HP unit, like a Luke Skywalker or something like that. Whereas before, it was difficult for the deck to answer units like Luke Skywalker that had 7 HP that would come down in the end game. Well, the Charge with Treason card gives some room for the deck to be able to answer those units. Like another example would be like Cad Bane or the new Thrawn unit. There are a lot of examples of 7 HP endgame units. But okay, going into game 2 here, both of us sideboarded. I'm not sure what Anthony sideboarded in. I hope he sideboarded in. You see just such a thick deck over there with that 60 cards. No reason to play. All right, and I'm going to poke a little fun here, okay? So you have higher variance in your opening draw in Colossus because of the 5 cards. So playing more than 60 in a Colossus deck is actually double punishing you in terms of variance. It really is. because you're seeing less cards, so you're having less consistent hands, and you're playing more cards, so you're having less consistent hands. It's like you're double punishing yourself. Anthony, drop some cards, bud. But I think on my side, I sideboarded in Pillages, my extra Luthens, my extra Crate. I don't think I was running Chams in my sideboard, although I wouldn't add the Chams in this matchup. But yeah, the Pillages are really nice to go in because they add with, say, the Luthens and the Chopper to be able to heavily limit my opponent's hand in the control matchup. That beautiful Hyperspace Cassian there. Keeping the charge with Corruption, because I know that is a key card in my deck to answer the endgame units. So he actually opens past there, and we're going to see the same open that we saw before, where I'm kind of banking, and he doesn't have the answer. I was kind of banking there that I could just get that 4 damage in. But actually, it's not 4 damage, it's actually 6 damage. So we are going to not only catch up with Colossus, evening it up with that 5, but then also getting ahead by 1 damage here with that. The Fleet, I've grown to love the Fleet Lieutenant Chopper. The Fleet Lieutenant Chopper turn 2 is it feels so good. Now, I told you that, and this is wild. So, like, Anthony was not expecting this from me. He was not expecting me to just let my Chopper go there. Because I'm thinking, okay, so what can he do? And this is about knowing the control lines, right? And you can see Anthony doesn't even spend those 2 resource there. This is about knowing the control lines. What can Anthony do for 2 resource that is going to take out my Fleet Lieutenant? Nothing. He can do nothing for 2 resource. And I knew that. So I knew my Fleet Lieutenant was safe, and I had already discarded a card with Chopper. I'm now in card limit mode. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm limiting his cards. I want to get value out of that Chopper. I don't want to give him free cards. Get my damage in when I can. Yep, gonna flip Dedra here. He does have more cards. I think he has 4 or 5 cards in his hand now. No, 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah, he didn't play turn 1. I gave him a card. Yeah, that makes sense. So me knowing that he might go into the fleet here, because I already have 9 damage on his base, I dropped the red 5. Because this is going to be a clean answer to Dedra. Oh, but he does have the takedown to answer the red 5. That's right, because I did claim there, thinking I could just swing with red 5, but he had the takedown answer. My hand is not looking great. I've been drawing a lot of events. I've been resourcing a lot of events. We might see the Smuggle Cassian come out this turn. Or I could slow play it with Mace Power. I do have a Pillage as well. But we are now in the mid game, and this is really important. This is actually really important here. The mid game Pillage against a control deck, and we're seeing that Anthony actually has a Childson in his hand. He has a full blue hand, along with the Client, all those blue events, and a Childson. He was going to drop down a 6/6 Sentinel on me this turn. But not anymore. He's actually going to discard it because it would only have been a 4/4. So, yep, great plays here. The mid-game Pillage is very important against a control deck. And the reason it's so important is because of resourcing. Because the more you limit a control deck's cards, the harder it is for them to actually resource into the late game. And it causes them to make very, very difficult choices with their, with the cards that they want to keep for the late game versus actually being able to resource up to that point. So I wasn't anticipating the Chilts in there. I was more so doing it for that reason. But we're going to see the Mace Windu power to take out Dedra. We're going to see just a Green Squadron A-Wing thrown to the stars. Actually, we are going to instead do the Cassian. This is better. Uses my resources, pushes a little bit more damage here. This is much better. The no glory again. So this is what I'm saying. Pressuring for the no glory. It was only 3 damage there. But after coming off of last game where, I did that really strong push at the end, he wants to ensure that he's not getting to a place where a crate is going to end the game. So it looks like in my hand, I think that's an open fire. Or is that another pillage? No, that looks like an open fire. Yeah, it's an open fire. So this is something a change that I actually made to my Mace Windu deck. The client was a menace in this game. An absolute menace. So we're going to see the client come down here on the A-Wing. And attempt to get him 5 heal. The client was an absolute menace in this game, and that's my own fault for dropping Piercing Shot in my Mace Windu deck. A mistake that I've since remedied. This is the Mace flip turn, so I can flip Mace, and I'm really thinking about it here because, again, this game is all about card advantage. All about card advantage. So he just committed a Pershing to the board. And it's really making me think. Because then I know if he super lasers, yes, he gets 2 cards and my leader. Oh, but I'm actually going to claim. I'm actually going to claim here. This is intense, honestly. Wow. I didn't expect that. I expected a flip there. I think it's because I don't have him that high in damage, and he has the client, which I can't answer right now. So I know he's going to heal some and eventually. And I'm worried that this game is going to last a lot longer, so I'm probably holding my leader flip for a little bit longer. So we're definitely at the point in the game where you want to think about stopping the resource on my side. That may not be true for Anthony, but definitely on my side, we're at the point where I would want to consider to stop resourcing. And when you make this decision, you just have to ask yourself, what is my play this turn? And you can see I didn't resource there. What is my play this turn, and do I need an extra resource? That's what you have to ask. Because especially against the control decks, you need those cards. You can't be just throwing cards down in your resource row for no reason. And you may think to yourself, oh, well, you're working towards the crate, right? You need to get to 9. Well, I don't have crate in my hand right now. I don't know when I'm going to draw my crate. And I'm only 2 resources away no matter what. But we are going to see the Pershing draw here and just pushing in damage. Anthony is setting up a heal with the client, so he knows he can tank this damage. He is in the driver's seat of this match right now. He is fairly low in damage, but I am holding my leader flip for the right moment. We're going to see another Dedra power here. Thinking about whether or not I'm going to give him my Anno commission, but I am, because I felt like he was fishing for cards. It felt like fishing to me. So I decided to not give him the extra card. But dropping down the Rancor here to get some extra damage on the Pershing and finally take out that shield on the client. Took forever to take out that shield. Now, something of note here, Anthony could have client bountied on the... Oh, he's actually going to client bounty on the Rancor, okay. I was going to say, he could have client bountied on the A-Wing before the power, but we'll have to see what he does to take out this Rancor. Now, that client bounty on the Rancor kind of lets me know that he likely is going to do something to take out the Rancor this turn. Otherwise, why would he waste the action on that? So this is where I'm thinking about flipping. Because if he takes out the Rancor and heals 5, I'd only have my leader on the board. Yep, and we're going to see the flip here. Take out the Pershing and threaten 5 damage that he's going to heal, likely right here. But no, we're going to see the top target. And then 5 to base. The Merciless. Yep, so he gets the 5 heal from the Merciless. Yeah, so nice technical play here from Anthony. He does lose the client, though. Which is unfortunate for him. We are in a really grindy game here. And you can see how, like, maybe you hold the leader flip till after the first super laser. But Anthony was playing, you know, he had a lot of draw. So that's why I felt like I needed to flip there. Because if you can't force the super laser, then you need to be in a position to force the super laser if you're going to hold your leader flip until after the super laser. So I needed the extra pressure because of how much card advantage he's been getting and how much healing he's been getting. But we're going to see the out of aspect tech for 5. An excellent play here. Setting up, giving him insane card advantage and giving him access to his entire resource row with Smuggle. Now me setting up, again, the 2-unit push that I do against control decks. I do have that Crate Dragon in my hand now. The 2-unit push. I'm not overcommitting to the board. I am doing the 2-unit push. And then if he does Super Laser, I get the double discard. So I do have the Crate Dragon in my hand now. And I've got a nice Fleet Lieutenant, which we are going to see a Fleet Lieutenant 7 to base. Very nice. Yes, that's right. Luthens is a rebel. Pushing in 7 to base. So getting him up to 28. Very high in damage. But he does have another client and that tech where he's going to be able to... He has a lot of options, because while the tech did cost 5 to play out, he is only adding 2 to anything that's in his resource row. He doesn't have a crazy number of resources. He is at 9 resources, so it's not as if he has full access to everything. And it is going to kind of be a one-shot here, and when you have the board that I have on the board right now, it's a little scary to do that one shot. See, he's really hesitating here because, like, the Mace Windu is going to come in for another 5. He put the bounty on the Luthens, I think. And the top target. Wow. Lots of healing about to come in here. So I was kind of anticipating a Super Laser Blast, but we are actually going to see the Vigilance here the vigilance here. Yeah, I think this was... we had something weird happen here. I'm not sure where he put that client bounty. Because he did only heal 11. What is he at? 22? He was at... right after the 5. So he's at 22 now. He was at 32. Or 33. So he healed 11. So I don't know where that client bounty went. But something. I feel like we missed a heal or something. We'll have to see if that's significant at the end there. But yeah, there are a lot of moving parts in this game. And it's hard to keep track of everything. Of course, this is just a casual game. I did want to get these matches out to you all because it's always good to show how to play against control decks, like playing a different game, playing that kind of grindy card advantage game. So, despite the weirdness with the client bounties, I wanted to... And this is where the game would change, right? So, like, I'm not sure if he either put the bounty on a wrong unit or forgot the heal, but if he would have been 5 HP less there, I would have actually went Mace Windu into tech instead of pushing base. The reason I pushed base there is because I have him so high, getting him to 27. So that's the reason I pushed 5 to base there. But if I knew the game was going to grind longer, I would have killed the tech. So that's where the game would have changed there. But just something to note. Hey, remember your triggers and play, 3 actions ahead so you can remember things. But we're going to drop down the Crate Dragon here. After he does the Vigilance, I knew I got Crate for free on the board. And kind of, so if he super lasers... He's taking another 8, healing 6. Kind of a net 0 there. But we are in the thick of it in this hyper late game. That's right, hyper late game. Merciless Contest, a great answer from the resource row for 5. A great answer here. Only taking 3 to base. Yeah, because likely there... So it would have basically changed the whole game if he got the extra 5 heal there. Because he would have lost the client there instead of tech, because I would have killed the tech already. And things like that. Like, a lot of things would have changed. So it's really hard to tell how that single modification would cascade in this game. I have a lot of cards in my hand. I am pretty stacked. I think I'm on 10 resources. But he's going to... Deathmark, and I'm going to pillage because as soon as he Deathmarks there, he only has 2 cards in his hand and immediately met with a pillage. It is just awesome there. So I'm actually on 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm on 10 resources. So 6 resources freed up to be able to play something for 6. Potentially that tank just to throw down an extra unit. But we are actually going to play the Ando Commission. Because I think I'm expecting a super laser. I'm expecting a super laser. And just the tank is a better unit. So, me expecting the super laser, although I did just pillage him. So I think since, after this match, I actually was convincing him to drop the Deathmark. But you could see how, like, that slow play there with the Deathmark, like, he was going for value because he had the rivals to kill the Mace, but he got punished with the pillage, and that's something you got to think about. But we are in the thick of it now. I have another Crate Dragon in my hand, which is just awesome. Am I still at 10? Yep. Yep, and there's the end of the game right there. So a little bit of shenanigans, like I said, with the client heal there. Not sure how that would have worked out, but hope you all enjoyed these matches. We have a lot more match videos coming, and if you liked the Ray Force video that we released, the Ray Force video that I released is getting a lot of traction and is actually one of the top decks on SWODB right now. I've made some modifications to that list based on one of the commenters giving some advice. So I'm actually going to build this deck, and I'm going to start playing it because I think it has some legs. So if you like crazy combo decks, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We are going to be coming out with a ton of deck profile videos, a ton of match videos. So thank you all for joining me, and please turn your dial to Random Number Gaming.